here today, we are meeting after 2 years, will agree with me when I say that uncertainties is a word that we are all very familiar with, especially in the last few years, where there has been uncertainty after uncertainty after uncertainty. Don't you all agree? Yes. At 8 p.m. on 24th March 2020, when the Prime Minister of India called for a complete lockdown of our nation by midnight, a nation of 1.3 billion people, there was uncertainty. When the 21-day complete lockdown turned into an almost 70-day one, there was again uncertainty. When people were fighting for hospital beds, people were fighting for medicines, people were fighting for oxygen in the first quarter of 2021, fighting for their lives, fighting for space, fighting for air to breathe, there was again uncertainty. When the third wave hit in early 2022, passing swiftly from person to person, 4 times as infectious as the original virus, again there was uncertainty. Most of us seated here today, directly or indirectly, have faced these uncertainties over the past few years, either through the loss of health, the loss of the lives of loved ones or friends, or the loss of employment. Unfortunately, the uncertainty does not end here. Now, I'm not announcing that there's another wave of corona coming, don't worry. In the last few years in India, the freedom of speech and expression, especially those of minorities, human rights activists and journalists, continues to be curtailed in multiple instances. That is again uncertainty. Mainstream media is fighting for their lives to remain free, and some of you might say they've lost their fight. Uncertainty. The false seeds of discord are being sown, pitting class against class, religion versus religion, people against people. Uncertainty. It has reached a point where there is a question whether the world's largest democracy can still be called a democracy. Uncertainty. Add to that our day-to-day frustrations of life, of managing our finances, building our careers, taking care of our families. We find ourselves in a very uncertain world. In the midst of all this unpredictability, many of us think that the only way we can make it through life is to carry on living our day-to-day life, living it day in and day out, day in and day out, until the day we die. But my question is, why are we thinking that we need to just survive? Why are we thinking that we need to get to the day we die, just arriving there unscathed, not happy, not thriving, but just unscathed? Why is it that we think that this is our lot? Why is it that we think that we just have to get by? Isn't there more than this? Shouldn't there be more than this? I think there is. And not only me, there are countless philosophers, thinkers, intellectuals, and other enlightened individuals who have thought about this and continue to think about this in the same way, that a better way of life is possible. A better way of life is possible where we not only survive, but we thrive. Hence the topic here today. So let me paint you a picture in your mind as you sit here today, preparing your mind to receive and to equip yourself to go out into this world tomorrow. This is a way of life where we do not let the challenges of life anger us or frustrate us, but accepting those challenges, we live in peace and with joy. This is a way of life where we feel and we know that we have enough. And being content with what we have, we are able to share with others. A way of life where we have a strong sense of what is right and what is wrong, and we function according to that strong moral code. And we step in when there is injustice or malice that is becoming the norm in the world. A way of life where love and concern for the welfare of others is at the forefront of our mind at all times. A way of life where we take pride in what we do on a daily basis, knowing that there is a purpose and meaning to all that we do in our life. A way of life where our goals are not only limited to ourselves or our families, but it grows to cover the entire human race as a whole. This is the possibility of life I want to talk about today. Life will continue to have challenges. We can't change that. But as E.F. Schumacher has said, the higher faculties of man accept the challenges of life as they are offered without complaint, knowing that when things are most contradictory, absurd, difficult, and frustrating, then, just then, life really makes sense as a mechanism provoking and almost forcing us to develop towards higher levels of being. Higher levels of being allow us to live a life as it was meant to be lived. Not a fearful, scared, self-centered existence, but a life filled with dignity and grace and compassion and love, courage, self-actualization, and transcendence. Who wouldn't want to live a life like that? Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of the Roman Empire, is known as the last good emperor. In his personal journal, wrote this: "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions and dispositions." Even as a very powerful emperor, he was no stranger to his actions being impeded by things beyond his control. We all can connect with that, even though we are not powerful emperors. In his reign of 19 years, he faced constant war, a horrific plague, possible infidelity, an attempt at the throne by one of his closest allies, repeated long, arduous journeys across his entire empire, a rapidly depleting treasury, an incompetent and greedy stepbrother who was also coincidentally his co-emperor, and many other situations that we would definitely call as uncertainties. Yet, he is known as the last good emperor, because in spite of all these uncertainties, or as he believes, because of that, he practiced virtues like patience, humility, courage, justice, reason, and ruled his empire not only with authority, but with humility and competence. Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions and disposition. The question that I raise then to you is, what do we do when we are faced with life, with things beyond our control? Do we let fear, anxiety, and frustration envelop us and drown us? Or do we transcend these by swimming to higher ground, a ground where acceptance, peace, joy, and enlightenment prevail? This is a choice that you and I have to make through the course of our lives. And if you have not made that choice yet, I hope that today, after hearing all that you will in the 6th annual Jethro Memorial Lecture, that you will make the right one. Thank you.